Jaren had never expected to leave Earth, let alone travel to a distant star system where he would serve as a guard for an alien princess. His life had always been quiet and simple. A soldier by training, he had been assigned to protect humans in dangerous zones. But when the Galactic Council needed volunteers for special assignments, Jaren had been chosen, largely because he was humble, careful, and unassuming. Now, standing in the immense docking hall of the alien palace, he felt a mixture of awe and nervousness. The palace was enormous, stretching skyward in strange, smooth curves that shimmered under the soft alien light. There was no sound of wind here. The air was perfectly still, filtered and clean. Hundreds of alien attendants moved quietly, their long limbs and colorful, smooth skin making them look almost like living sculptures. Jaren adjusted his uniform and looked toward the center of the hall, where a young alien princess was waiting. Lysra was unlike any alien he had ever imagined. She was tall, with pale lavender skin that seemed to glow faintly in the hall's light, and her hair flowed like liquid silver down her back. Her eyes, large and golden, scanned the hall with sharp intelligence and a quiet suspicion. "Your assignment is simple," said a small, thin official beside him, speaking quickly in basic Galactic. "You are here to protect Princess Lysra during her stay on this world. She is highly particular. Be aware, she tests all who serve her. Fail and—" Jaren swallowed. "I understand," he said. He had faced danger before, but this was different. This was not just about fighting or strategy. He could feel the weight of judgment already pressing down on him. As he approached the princess, she turned her golden eyes directly toward him. "So you are the human?" she asked, her voice smooth but sharp. "I have heard stories of your species. Courageous, yes. Stubborn, certainly. But are you worthy of serving me?" Jaren felt a chill. He had trained to respond under pressure, but this was a test unlike any he had faced. "I will do my best," he replied steadily, meeting her gaze. Lysra raised an eyebrow. "Your best? Words are easy. Actions are what I will judge." She turned and began walking, the long train of her ceremonial robe gliding over the polished floor. Jaren fell into step behind her, careful to stay a respectful distance away. The first challenge came almost immediately. Lysra led him to a room filled with strange devices, glowing softly with alien energy. On a table lay a series of intricate puzzles, mechanical and digital, their purpose unclear. She stopped and looked at him with an expression that could have been amusement or a warning. "You will solve these," she said simply. "They are not meant to be easy. Humans are clever, I have heard. Let us see if it is true." Jaren approached the puzzles cautiously. Each piece seemed to have multiple functions, and the designs were unlike anything he had ever seen. He studied them carefully, twisting, turning, and testing. Hours passed, though he did not notice, and the princess watched, silently, her golden eyes following every move. Finally, one by one, the puzzles began to respond. Lights blinked, panels shifted, and the room's energy seemed to hum with satisfaction. Lysra's expression did not change, but when Jaren finished the last puzzle, she inclined her head slightly. "Interesting," she said. "You do think carefully. Not the fastest, but careful. That is acceptable for now." Jaren exhaled silently, relief washing over him. He had passed the first test, though he suspected it was only the beginning. Over the next few days, Lysra devised more challenges. Sometimes they were physical. She would send him through obstacle courses that tested his speed, strength, and endurance. Other times the challenges were moral. She would watch to see if he helped someone in need, even when it was inconvenient or dangerous. Each time, he succeeded quietly, never boasting, never asking for recognition. The palace staff whispered about him. "The human is strange," one attendant said to another. "He does not seek glory, only duty." Lysra noticed too, though she did not comment. She had never encountered a human like him before. Most alien guards sought honor or fame. Jaren seemed motivated only by responsibility and a quiet sense of right and wrong. She found herself watching him more than she admitted. curious about this species that could be so humble yet so strong. One evening, the princess led him to the palace gardens. The air here was warm and fragrant, filled with alien flowers that glowed faintly under the soft light. She paused at the edge of a small pond, the water reflecting her silver hair and golden eyes. "Tomorrow," she said, "you will face another trial. It is dangerous. Do not fail, human. I would not want to see harm come to someone I observe with interest." Jaren nodded. He felt a flicker of unease but also determination. "I will be ready," he said. Lizera turned and walked away, her robe floating like liquid over the garden floor. Jaren watched her go, feeling a strange mixture of respect and something he did not yet understand. This princess was proud, clever, and cautious. But there was something in her gaze, curiosity, perhaps even admiration, that made him wonder if this test was not only about skill, but about character. As he prepared for the coming trial, Jaren realized one thing clearly. He would do his duty, no matter the danger. And he would prove quietly that a human's courage and humility could shine even in the most alien of worlds. Little did he know, this was only the beginning. Lysera's test would become more personal, more dangerous, and far more revealing than any puzzle or obstacle. And as she watched him, she began to feel something she had never felt before. The stirrings of respect, and perhaps even something closer to trust. The human guard, humble and unassuming, had arrived, and the alien princess was about to discover that this human might be far more remarkable than she had ever imagined. The morning air in the palace gardens was cool, but Jaren felt a heat in his chest. Today would be another test. He could sense it. Princess Lysera had already proven that her challenges were never simple, and the way she watched him, her golden eyes calculating every move, made him wary. He followed her through the winding paths of the palace, past glowing flowers and streams that shimmered under alien light. Birds with translucent wings sang in the distance. Lysera walked with grace, her silver hair flowing behind her like a ribbon of liquid metal. "Your next test," she said, "is not a puzzle, nor a simple obstacle. It is endurance and judgment. We shall see how your mind and body respond together." Jaren nodded, his fingers tightening on the straps of his uniform. He had faced dangers before, but this princess had a way of making ordinary tasks feel like life or death. They arrived at a large training arena, circular and open, to the sky. Strange devices lined the walls, humming softly. The ground beneath them was uneven, dotted with pits and moving platforms. Jaren looked at the setup and swallowed. This was no ordinary physical challenge. He had to remain alert, think quickly, and act decisively. Lysera smiled faintly. "You will cross the arena. Along the way you will encounter traps, puzzles, and distractions. Ignore what tempts you. Focus on your goal and remember, your actions will show me your true nature." Jaren took a deep breath and stepped forward. Immediately the ground shifted. A pit opened beneath him and he leapt, catching himself on a narrow ledge. He rolled, adjusted his footing, and continued. A soft, clicking sound warned him of a trap above. He ducked just in time as a set of weighted rods swung down. Halfway through, Lysera appeared on a high platform, observing him silently. She dropped a small device, glowing and vibrating, toward the edge of the path. It was tempting, shiny, almost begging to be picked up. Many guards would have grabbed it, out of curiosity or pride. Jaren ignored it. His focus remained on crossing, safely, and completing the test. That small choice, Lysera noted, spoke volumes about his character. A human willing to resist temptation for duty. As he reached the final section of the arena, a new challenge appeared. A holographic figure of a palace official suddenly appeared, shouting accusations. "Human, you failed. You cannot protect the princess." Jaren froze for a fraction of a second. The voice was loud, angry, and clearly meant to provoke him. But he took a slow breath and responded calmly. "I will continue my duty. That is what matters." The hologram disappeared, replaced by a platform that tilted sharply, sending him sliding toward a pit. Jaren's reflexes kicked in. He jumped, rolled, and landed safely on solid ground. Lysera clapped her hands softly, the sound echoing through the arena. "Impressive," she said. "You remain calm under pressure. You resist temptation. You endure physical and mental trials. This is rare." Jaren gave a small nod. "Thank you, Princess." But the princess did not smile fully. "You may be strong, human, but strength alone is not enough. There is more to this trial than what you have faced. You will see soon." Later that evening, the palace halls were quiet, lit by soft alien light. Jaren was walking past the corridors when he noticed a small child, a palace attendant struggling to carry a crate. The child's skin shimmered faintly in the light, and he seemed nervous. Jaren paused, then stepped forward. "Here, let me help you," he said, lifting the crate with ease. The child's eyes widened and a small, shy smile appeared. Lysera had been watching from a balcony above. She narrowed her eyes, studying Jaren. It was not the first time she had seen him act this way, quiet, humble, caring, but it never failed to impress her. Most alien guards would ignore Stonelio. The next morning, Jaren woke before the palace guards. The soft alien light filtered through tall windows, casting long shadows across the polished floors. He stretched and prepared himself for whatever challenge Princess Lysera had planned today. But something felt different. The princess had been watching him closely during the past trials, and he sensed a quiet curiosity in her eyes, a curiosity that made him uneasy and alert at the same time. Lysera appeared in the corridor, her silver hair flowing behind her like a ribbon. "You are punctual," she said, her golden eyes studying him carefully. "Good. Today your challenge is different. You will walk through the city streets of our world, blending in with the inhabitants. Observe, act, and respond as you think is right. Do not fail." Jaren nodded. This test was not about strength or speed, it was about perception, judgment, and discretion. He had to act in ways that were thoughtful, kind, and cautious. The streets of the alien city were unlike anything he had seen. Towering structures curved upward like spirals of glass and metal. Vehicles hovered silently above the ground, and citizens of every color and shape moved along in quiet harmony. Some stared curiously at him, the human stranger among them. Jaren kept his posture steady, his uniform neat, and followed Lysera through the crowd. The first situation came quickly. A merchant dropped a crate of glowing fruits, and the fruit rolled into the street, threatening to get crushed by hovering carts. Many citizens ignored it, hurrying along with their tasks. Without thinking twice, Jaren bent down and picked up the fruits, handing them back to the merchant. The merchant bowed and smiled, a gesture of gratitude that Jaren returned with a small nod. Lysera watched silently from a distance, her lips pressing together as though restraining a reaction. Further along, a child wandered too close to a busy path. A cart glided by, dangerously close to the small figure. Jaren rushed forward and scooped the child up, placing him safely on the sidewalk. The parents, who had been searching frantically, rushed forward and thanked him. Lysera's eyes followed every movement. The human acted without hesitation, without expectation of praise, simply doing what was right. She felt a stirring of something strange in her chest, a feeling she had never allowed herself to experience for anyone outside her world. But then, a misunderstanding occurred. A city official approached, their voice sharp and accusing. "Human, you interfere where you are? Not needed. You are reckless." Jaren froze, caught off guard. He raised his hands in peace. "I only acted to prevent harm," he said calmly. Lysera, standing atop a platform nearby, frowned slightly. She had intended for this test to show the humans' judgment, but the official's words made it look as though Jaren had overstepped. Her golden eyes narrowed. Had he truly understood the rules of her world? Jaren looked at the official respectfully, then nodded and moved on, careful not to escalate the situation. He did not argue or demand explanation. Instead, he focused on continuing the challenge with care and attention. The rest of the day passed, with smaller tests, helping citizens in subtle ways, resisting temptations, and making choices that reflected patience and humility. Lysera observed him quietly, her pride and curiosity battling inside her. He was humble, clever, and courageous, but he also respected her authority and did not try to impress her unnecessarily. As the sun set, painting the alien sky in brilliant shades of violet and gold, Lysera finally descended from her vantage point. She approached Jaren slowly, her expression unreadable. "You performed well," she said. "Better than I expected. You helped others without seeking reward. You acted wisely when tested. Most importantly, you remained calm when faced with misunderstanding and accusation." Jaren straightened. "I did what I believed was right," he said simply. Lysera nodded slowly, her golden eyes lingering on him. "Yes, that is clear. I see things in you that are unusual. Strength alone does not impress me. Intelligence alone does not impress me. But you, your humility, your heart, it is rare." Jaren's cheeks warmed slightly, though he tried to hide it. He had never received praise like this, especially not from a princess. "Thank you, princess," he said quietly. The princess studied him for a long moment. Then, almost imperceptibly, she smiled. It was subtle, shy, and fleeting, but it made Jaren's heart beat faster. He realized that beneath her pride and composure, she was beginning to feel something for him. Perhaps admiration, perhaps curiosity, or even something closer to affection. Before either of them could speak further, a palace attendant approached with urgent news. "Princess Lysera," he said, bowing, "we have received intelligence that some factions within the city plan to attack your residence tonight." Lysera's expression hardened. "Prepare the defenses," she commanded. Then she glanced at Jaren. "You will remain at my side. I do not wish for any harm to come to either of us." Jaren nodded. "I will not leave you," he said firmly. The evening passed in tense preparation. Jaren helped organize guards, check security systems, and ensure that the princess's quarters were safe. Lysera worked alongside him, her pride making her hesitant to show too much reliance, yet she felt a strange reassurance in his presence. Finally, the night came. Shadows moved across the palace walls and faint sounds of disturbance echoed from the city. Jaren and Lysera stood together on the balcony, watching carefully. "You did well today," Lysera said softly. Her voice was quieter than usual, almost a whisper. "Not because of your skill, but because of your heart. It is rare in any species human." Jaren looked at her. "I only do what is right," he replied. "That is all any of us can do." Lysera's golden eyes softened and she turned away briefly, her silver hair catching the light. For the first time, she felt an emotion she had never allowed herself before. Trust and perhaps something more, beginning to grow for this human who was humble, steadfast, and unlike anyone she had ever met. And as the night deepened, with dangers lurking in the shadows, Jaren realized that these tests were becoming more than challenges. They were lessons, not only about skill and courage, but about connection, understanding, and the quiet strength that came from the heart. In the days to come, that bond would grow stronger, tested by trials that went beyond strength or intelligence, leading both the human and the princess toward something neither of them could yet fully name. The palace was quiet at dawn, but the tension was palpable. Princess Lysera walked through the hall with measured steps, her golden eyes fixed on Jaren. Today's trial would not be like the previous ones. It was not a puzzle, not a test of observation, and not a moral challenge. It was dangerous, designed to test courage, quick thinking, and loyalty under pressure. "You will accompany me to the Crystal Caverns," Lysera said. "There your skill, patience, and courage will be tested. Do not fail, human. This trial is personal." Jaren nodded, feeling a mixture of anticipation and unease. He had faced many challenges, but he sensed that this trial could change everything. Lysera did not walk ahead. Instead, she allowed him to step beside her, silently observing how he reacted to the path ahead. The crystal caverns were a labyrinth of glittering formations that refracted light into dazzling colors. The air was cold, and the walls echoed every sound. Strange creatures lurked in the shadows, unseen but sensed. Every step required careful judgment, for the floor could shift or crack without warning. Lysera led the way, her eyes scanning constantly. "Stay alert," she warned. "One wrong move and you may not reach the end. Protect me if necessary, but also show me who you truly are." As they moved deeper, the first challenge appeared. A wide chasm opened in the cavern floor with jagged rocks far below. A narrow moving bridge hovered above the gap, controlled by mechanisms that shifted unpredictably. Jaren tested the first step carefully, timing it with the platform's movement. Lysera followed closely, watching him with a mixture of curiosity and scrutiny. Halfway across, the bridge suddenly tilted sharply. Jaren lunged forward, catching Lysera's hand and steadying her. "Thank you," she said softly, her voice betraying a flicker of admiration. For the first time, she allowed a hint of vulnerability to show. The next challenge was mental as well as physical. Strange symbols appeared on the cavern walls, glowing with alien energy. Lysera's test was simple in theory: decode the pattern and navigate the correct path. But the symbols shifted constantly, designed to confuse and mislead. Jaren concentrated, studying the movements carefully. He noticed the pattern, subtle repetitions that others might overlook. He guided Lysera along the correct path, avoiding traps that would have triggered falling rocks or deadly spikes. Lysera observed silently, her golden eyes reflecting the multicolored glow of the cavern. She had tested countless guards before, but none had shown such focus, such calm under pressure. Even in moments of danger, he acted with care, never rushing, never losing control. But the final part of the trial was the most dangerous. From the shadows emerged a pack of native crystal cavern predators, creatures with sharp claws and glowing eyes. They moved swiftly, silently, surrounding the two of them. Lysera's hand went instinctively to her weapon, but Jaren acted first. He drew his blaster, aiming carefully. He did not shoot recklessly, but with precision, targeting the creature's limbs to disable, not kill. Each shot was calculated, each move deliberate. He kept one eye on Lysera, ensuring she remained safe. The palace was unusually quiet that morning. Jaren walked through the hallways, his boots echoing softly on the polished floor. For the first time in weeks, there were no formal trials, no challenges laid out by Princess Lysera. Yet he felt a different kind of tension in the air, a feeling that today would be significant. Lysera appeared at the top of the grand staircase, her silver hair catching the soft light. She was dressed in simple robes today, without the heavy ceremonial garments she usually wore. Her golden eyes met his, and for a moment, neither spoke. "You have proven yourself, Jaren," she said finally. Her voice was calm, but there was an unusual warmth in it. Not only through skill or courage, but through your heart, your patience, and your humility. Jaren bowed slightly. "Thank you, Princess. I only do what I believe is right." Lysera descended the staircase, walking toward him slowly. "That is what makes you different. Most guards serve for pride or honor. You serve because it is your choice, and that choice comes from within." Jaren felt a strange pull in his chest. He had spent so long focused on duty, on completing tasks and following orders, that he had never considered how his actions affected others. Now, looking into her eyes, he realized she saw him not just as a guard but as a person. "I admire you, Jaren," Lysera said quietly, almost as if speaking the words aloud was difficult for her. "I respect your strength, yes, but it is your character that is remarkable. I have never met anyone like you." Jaren blinked, caught off guard. I do not know what to say, Princess. I am honored, truly." Lysera took a deep breath. "Do you ever think about what lies beyond duty?" she asked. "Not just tasks, not just orders, but connection, trust, Affection? Jaren hesitated. He had never thought of himself as anything other than a soldier, a guard. But the moments he had spent protecting Lysera, helping the citizens and navigating the trials, had changed something. I care for you, he said honestly. More than duty demands, more than I expected myself to care. Lysera's golden eyes widened slightly. She took a step closer, her voice softening. That is all I wish to hear. Humans are strange. Your humility, your honesty, what makes you even more remarkable than I imagined. Before Jaren could respond further, a messenger arrived, bowing deeply. Princess Lysera, there is concern among the council. Some factions are unhappy with the presence of a human guard. They question your judgment and the decisions you have made regarding security. Lysera's expression hardened, though a flicker of frustration passed through her eyes. I see. Let them question. My decisions are my own. She looked at Jaren, her gaze softening once more. But I trust you, Jaren, and I know your loyalty and courage surpass their understanding. Jaren nodded. I will stand by you, Princess, regardless of what others think. The political tension in the palace made the next days challenging. Jaren assisted in planning security, training new guards, and handling disputes quietly and effectively. Lysera observed him closely, her admiration growing with each decision he made, each act of calm and careful judgment. She began to see a bond forming, not just of respect but of mutual trust. One evening, after a long day of council meetings and security checks, Lysera invited Jaren to walk with her in the palace gardens. The alien flora glowed softly, casting gentle reflections on the pools of water. You are unlike anyone I have ever known, Jaren, Lysera said, her voice low and sincere. You are brave, humble, and steadfast, and you make me feel something I have never felt before. Jaren listened carefully, unsure how to respond. I care for you, Princess, he said simply. I have from the beginning, though I did not expect anything in return. Lysera stopped walking, turning to face him. Her golden eyes searched his face, and she took a small step closer. You are human, she said softly. I have never imagined allowing someone like you into my life, not because of status, but because of who you are. And yet, here you are. And I cannot ignore what I feel. Jaren met her gaze steadily. Then let us see where this feeling leads, he said. I do not know the future, but I know I will protect you, and I will care for you, always. Lysera's lips curved in a small, genuine smile, the first he had seen that was entirely for him. She reached out, touching his arm lightly, a gesture of trust and affection. I think I am beginning to love you, Jaren, she admitted quietly. Jaren felt a warmth spread through him. And I believe I love you too, Princess. The moment was interrupted by a distant alarm. Lysera stiffened, and Jaren immediately went into guard mode. What is it? He asked, his voice calm but alert. Some factions are testing our defenses, Lysera replied. They wish to challenge the decision I have made. They do not understand the bond we share. Jaren placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. Then, we face it together, he said firmly. Nothing will harm you while I am here. That night, as they prepared for the coming challenges, the bond between them grew stronger. Lysera admired his courage and humility, while Jaren respected her intelligence and strength. Their connection was no longer merely about guard and princess. It was about trust, care, and the beginnings of love. And as the stars shone above the alien palace, casting soft light over the gardens and halls, both of them knew that their journey was only beginning. Trials would come, enemies would challenge them, and the world would question their bond. But together they were stronger than any obstacle. The human guard and the alien princess had confessed their feelings. And though the path ahead was uncertain, both felt a quiet certainty. Whatever came next, they would face it side by side. Morning sun cast a soft golden glow across the palace. For the first time in weeks, the halls felt tense in a different way, not from tests, but from an approaching threat. Intelligence had confirmed that a faction opposed to Princess Lysera's Decisions was planning an attack on the palace. This was no simple challenge. It was a real threat, and both the princess and her human guard would face it together. Jaren stood at the entrance to her private chambers, checking his equipment carefully. His calm focus belied the tension he felt inside. He had faced many challenges, but this was the first time the danger was not a test, but a matter of life and death. Lysera approached quietly, her golden eyes steady. "Jaren," she said, "this is not a simulation. The palace, the citizens, and we are vulnerable. I need your judgment and courage now, more than ever." "I will not fail you," Jaren replied simply. "We face this together." The palace, staff scrambled to fortify defenses, but Jaren and Lysera moved through the halls like a team, coordinating strategy and preparing for the inevitable confrontation. Jaren noticed the subtle fear in some attendants, yet he remained composed, offering reassurance with quiet confidence. Lysera watched him closely. His presence was grounding. His bravery was not loud or boastful, but steady and unwavering. As the sun rose higher, the first signs of attack appeared. Shadowy figures emerged near the palace gates, armed with weapons of alien design. Jaren took his position beside Lysera, scanning the area. "Stay close," he instructed. "Do not act rashly. Observe, and follow my lead." The first wave of attackers approached, moving with speed and precision. Jaren's strategy was simple but effective. He used his knowledge of the palace layout, guiding Lysera and the guards to strong defensive positions while countering the attackers with precise actions. Lysera was impressed. She had trained for combat and strategy her entire life, yet Jaren's calm thinking in the moment was extraordinary. He was not just reacting, he was anticipating, planning, and protecting everyone with care. The battle intensified as more attackers appeared. The human guard moved swiftly, his blaster precise, disabling enemy weapons without unnecessary harm. Lysera assisted, coordinating defenses and using her authority to rally the palace staff. Together they formed a formidable team. At one point, an attacker managed to get close to Lysera. Without hesitation, Jaren stepped in, shielding her with his body and neutralizing the threat. The princess's golden eyes met his, and for the first time she did not feel just admiration. She felt trust, complete and unshakable, and a warmth that went beyond respect. When the attackers realized they could not overpower the defenses, they retreated into the shadows, leaving the palace intact. The threat had been neutralized, not by brute force alone, but by strategy, courage, and the bond between human and princess. Lysera exhaled, relief and pride washing over her. "You were remarkable, Jaren," she said softly. "Not just for your skill, but for your heart. Today you proved something greater than any trial. Your loyalty, your courage, and your strength of character." Jaren shook his head slightly, humility in every motion. "I only did what I had to. You and the palace were in danger. I would not have acted differently." Lysera stepped closer, her hand brushing lightly against his arm. "That is what amazes me. You act without seeking, praise without thought of reward, yet you inspire trust and admiration in everyone around you." The two of them walked through the palace gardens, the soft glow of alien flora reflecting in the pools of water. For a long time they said nothing, simply enjoying the quiet after the storm. Jaren had protected the princess and the palace, and she had witnessed firsthand the human qualities that impressed her so deeply: humility, compassion, and unwavering courage. "Jaren," Lysera said finally, her voice low and sincere, "I have realized